in the person of Ademola Lookman is one of those gunning for that top prize. Just a year ago, we had Victor Osimhen and Aziz Oshoala scoop the award. So can Nigeria make it back to back? It's a very key interest and question Nigerians will be waiting to see. But obviously, there's no better person fit for that one than Victor Osimhen. So we'll be watching closely. Aside that, we have some other very interesting concerns making the rounds in the political scene now and diplomatic scene. We've got some interest as regards President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's silence on the appointment of ambassadors or envoys, depending the terminology you prefer, to various countries. It's still making the rounds as concerns have continued to mount over the absence of envoys in Nigeria's 109 missions and 76 embassies, 22 high commissions, and 11 consulates globally as President Bola Tinubu delays appointment. So there's a big concern about that. However, government officials with knowledge of the development have said that the names of nominees will be transmitted to the National Assembly before the end of December. The big question is, why is it taking so much time? Is it about the lobbying, or is it about the government trying to decide who fits who, making the right choices, making sure that we're putting persons who will get the job done? We've got diplomatic career ambassadors and non-career ambassadors, so probably the presidency is trying to make sure the career ambassadors are the ones slotted in first before the non-career ambassadors. But either way, it means Nigeria is key. Like I told you, there are a lot of concerns as regards the fact that 109 missions of Nigeria, 76 embassies and 22 high commissions and 11 consulates globally as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu takes his time. We know that upon resuming office in May 2023, Tinubu reassessed Nigeria's foreign policy, leading to the recall of 83 career and non-career ambassadors from their stations. The envoys were instructed to return to Nigeria by October 31st, 2023. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Toga, said the ambassadors served at the President's behest in their host nations, and it was his prerogative to send or recall them from any country. 16 months later, however, they have yet to be replaced, leaving a void in the service. In that period, Tinubu has attended various high-level engagements. On March 25th, Toga confirmed that the ministry had compiled and forwarded the names of respective career ambassadors to the president for consideration, though it was unclear whether the nominees were political or career diplomat. Indications suggested they primarily comprised of the latter, and while career diplomats are determined by their progression through the foreign service, political diplomats are often appointees of Mr. President. The President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, who earlier spoke on the issue, said such nominations must pass through a thorough process before a final list is transmitted to the National Assembly. One official who asked them not to be mentioned said confirmed that the appointments were imminent, though long anticipated. The official said there was no apparent reason for the delay. So let's see what's going to play out as we wait for the president to make that very all-important announcement of those that have been, appointed as ambassadors and envoys and high commissioners to different countries across the globe. All right, another very interesting issue that is of discourse of recent has to do with the fuel pump price that never seemed to go away, and it's all about naira for crude is the talking point, where Ipman has a petrol price reduction. That's one key thing that Nigerians want to hear about. As news reaching us tells us that the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has sought a reduction in the price of petrol across the country. The group urged the Dangote refinery to consider reducing its ex-depot price from 970 naira per litre, since the estimated cost of landing petrol on Nigerian shore has dropped to 900 naira, 28 kobo per litre. Meanwhile, remember that President Bola Tinubu had during a federal executive council meeting on July 29 proposed the sale of crude to local refineries in Naira. The FEC adopted the proposal by Tinubu to sell crude to Dangote and other refineries in the local currency. FEC approved that the 450,000 barrels made for domestic consumption be offered in Naira to Nigerian refineries using the Dangote refinery as a pilot. It also approved an initial 6-month trial period pending further review by the technical subcommittee on the domestic sale of crude oil. From October 1st, NNPC will commence the supply of about 385,000 barrels per day of crude to Dangote refinery and to be paid in Naira, the committee had declared. And so this implies that NNPC is to supply about 11.5 million barrels of crude to Dangote refinery monthly, and an equivalent, which is an equivalent of over 23 million barrels in 2 months. So, however, sources who were informed about the local crude sale deal told our correspondent Saturday that the deal was still ongoing. And so, since it's ongoing, Ipman is seeking that Dangote reduces its price since the landing cost has also dropped. Meanwhile, efforts to reach the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and Dangote on the amount traded between parties proved abortive, as NNPCL spokesperson Femi Soneye did not respond to inquiries. So we're hoping that things will turn around for the better now that they are being sold to them in Naira. All right, let's hope that would come to fruition, especially at this holiday period, the festive period, where people need to move from different points of the country. Meanwhile, just to let you know that the Ipman national officer added that Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority should be commended for halting monopolistic plans, which had in turn fostered healthy competition and also for pricing. So at least for a change, we are getting one of the regulatory agencies get kudos for trying to help reduce the sufferings of Nigerians. All right, so let's go for a quick break. When we return from this break, we'll be looking at other issues and we'll be looking at what some of the papers are saying this morning. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. We're now looking at some of the top stories in the papers. Let's look at the Punch newspaper. Got some punchy headlines. One of them says, governors revel in luxurious convoys amid economic crisis, is the top story from the Punch newspaper. Governors revel in luxurious convoys amid economic crisis is what we're looking at this morning from the Punch. It says that despite economic hardship and suffering, some states governors have yet to reduce the cost of governance, particularly in the number of vehicles in their convoys. Findings by Sunday Punch have shown that governors who are the major beneficiaries of the fuel subsidy removal, which results in more revenues from federal allocations, have yet to adjust their extravagant lifestyle, cutting the cost of governance by political office holders has been emphasized as a way to mitigate economic hardship. On 24th October, President Bola Tinubu restricted ministers and heads of agencies of the federal government to a maximum of 3 vehicles in their official convoys. The president also ordered them to have a maximum of 5 security personnel as part of measures to reduce the cost of governance. Investigations have shown that many of the ministers have complied with the president's directive. However, some state governors have not done much to cut down the cost of governance. The luxury lifestyle of governors are noticeable in their convoys, as many retain large numbers of expensive vehicles. Also, the travel expenses, cabinet and political appointment of some governors have raised concerns about their readiness to reduce their expenditure. For instance, let's look at that of Nasarawa, where the governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has a convoy of 15 vehicles, including the latest models of Chevrolet, Jeep, Lexus, Toyota Land Cruiser, and Padro. The price of the new 2023 Chevrolet Jeep in Nigeria ranges from $35,000 to $70,000, and while a brand new Lexus 2023 model costs between $47,000 to $90,000. So it tells you the crazy amount these governors are expending on vehicles to the detriment of the civil servants in their state and the lack of infrastructure in their state. Just to let you know that 1,050 naira to a liter, at least 85,000 naira worth of fuel will be needed to fill the 81-liter tank capacity of the Chevrolet SUV, while filling up the Lexus 2023 model will, with a tank of 87 liters, requires nothing less than 91,000. These are more than the minimum wage of workers in the state to fill just a tank of a Jeep. And these governors have 21 vehicles as their convoy, so you can imagine the wastage and the high cost of governance by these state governors. That's just looking at just the Nasarawa State governor. If we decide to move down to the governor of Adamawa, we can let you know that the Adamawa State governor, talking about Amadu Fintiri, maintains a convoy of 15 vehicles, including 6 Toyota Prado 2024 model, which is being sold as $62,830, and then others at $100,665 each. This is mind-boggling. The fuel tank capacity of each of these Prado is between 87 liters to 150 liters. So what he means that he spends, the brand will go up between 91,350 naira to 157,500 naira worth of fuel to fill in these cars, talking about the one for Adamawa State. So with at least 70 liters in each of the other 9 vehicles, it will take 73,500 naira to fill each of the SUV, and a total of 661,500 naira worth of fuel for the vehicles. And so this just gives us a clue to what these governors are doing. Well, don't forget that besides the governor also has 88 and 24 commissioners and 57 heads of commissions. This for Adamawa State. So you can imagine the amount of money expended on vehicles, fueling these vehicles. These are vehicles, brand new vehicles, 2023 models, at worst 2023 models, and we have the 2024 models, and they're all Jeeps and SUVs. So, but still looking at what's happening in Adamawa in terms of the cost of governance. In Adamawa, we know that the government has at least 47 media aides. That's quite on the high side, followed by 30 advisors, 45 senior special assistants, 37 principal special assistants, 21 special assistants in 2023 only. Then, if we now move forward from Nasarawa, Adamawa, now moving to Zamfara, it's amazing that the Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal uses a 2025 BMW 760i series being sold at this we're looking at 197 million 807,247.76 kobo as of September of this year. It's 197 million for the vehicle. Then the V8 car has a fuel tank of almost 73.81553 liters. That means at the cost of 1,059 pound price in Abuja, at least estimated that the government will use 78,000 to fill his car tank paid for by taxpayers' money. The governor's convoy also Lexus Jeeps, Toyota SUVs, and numbering about 8 and 5 Hilux in a video seen by Punch and 13 other vehicles. So it just tells you the cost of fueling will be at 949,000 at a 70-liter capacity per vehicle. So if you're spending 947,000 per vehicle, you can imagine what's playing out there. And I'm not talking about Delta State and other states across the nation. So it's mind-boggling the expenditures of our state governors and their unwillingness to cut cost of governance. Some people would say it is hard for them to pay salaries of their workers who earn barely 70,000 naira per month, but they can fuel their car for about 70,000 just for one trip, but you cannot pay that to workers who work 30 days in a month. Very saddening. And we hope all these things can be brought to the fore more often, and probably governors would have a rethink of how to treat their workers. Also, these are some of the stories we are getting from the Punch newspaper. We will be looking at other newspapers to see some big stories that are making the rounds, and that will be after this quick break. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
welcome back from the break. Is still global morning, and we're looking at issues making the rounds in Nigeria's national dailies. We're now into the Premium Times, and one of the big stories from the Premium Times has to do with more troubles for Samuel Ekpa as Finnish government freezes his assets. That's the story we are looking at this morning from the Premium Times. Finnish authorities have frozen assets belonging to Samuel Ekpa, a controversial pro-Biafra agitator, over his alleged terrorist activities. The Finnish newspaper reported that the KIP, which is the Finnish name for the National Bureau of Investigation, has frozen Ekpa's assets and those of other suspects. The KIP has frozen assets. The arrest, Premium Times earlier reported that Ekpa was arrested alongside 4 others on 21st November on suspicion of terrorist activities, and the Finnish police said Ekpa has contributed to violence and crimes against civilians in the southeastern Nigeria. The district court of Paja later ordered the pro-Biafra agitator be imprisoned with probable cause of suspicion for public incitement to commit crime with terrorist intent. He is expected to face charges in May 2025, according to the Finnish authority. And Ekpa was indicted for financing terrorism alongside 4 other suspects. And just to let you know that the police suspect that the Biafra agitator committed the crime of collecting money in violation of Finnish Money Collection Act. And so that's one thing that will against Ekpa, who is on a picture. The Finnish police said he allegedly committed the crime between August 23rd, 2021 and 18 November 2024 in Lairit, a town in Finland. A Nigerian Finnish citizen, Ekpa, heads the Autopilot, a faction of the indigenous people of Biafra. IPOB is a group leading the agitation for the independent state of Biafra, which it wants carved out from the southeast and some parts of south Nigeria. All right, it looks like the long arm of the law is gradually and finally catching up with Samuel Ekpa. Now his assets have been frozen, and so that's going to make it more difficult for him to continue to finance or support the agitation for the Biafran people, even though the IPOB on its own part have denied his membership of their group. And so what this means is that Ekpa is on his own and pending where he faces the charges in May 2025 in Finland. Nigeria, don't forget, Nigeria is also angling for him to be extradited back to the country so that he can face the charges. One key thing he has been instrumental is the sit-at-home phenomenon in the southeast, which has made it impossible for the business-minded people of the southeast, the entrepreneurs there. It has made it difficult for them to go about their businesses every Monday for the last 3 years, which has distorted the financial and economic activities in the southeast. As we are hoping with all this playing out already, first his arrest, then now the freezing of his assets by the Finnish authorities, and they've already given it deadline that come May 2025 he will be facing some charges. Hopefully from then on the Nigerian government can continue its move of trying to extradite him back to Nigeria so that he can also face the criminal charges of treason which he's been alleged for. We hope that this will also be as a lesson to all the agitators to do things in a more democratic manner and constructive manner without trying to breach the sovereignty of Nigeria, unless they would be facing what is coming to them, like Samuel Ekpa is currently facing. We hope that with all this done, peace and unity can return back to the people of the southeast. Also, that's the talking point from the Premium Times. We're we'll be looking at other issues and making the rounds. And we hope that the Nigerian Army and all relevant security agencies would be more keen to see how this plays out, and if it will be possible for Nigeria to have a representative during that May 2025 when he'll be facing the courts again in Finland, so that Nigeria can have a very live or physical representation. The court can take note of key issues, so that when it comes to his prosecution right back here in Nigeria, it will be well done and justice would be served. All right, we're hoping we will be joined via Zoom by one of Ben Shimang of Dr. Vera, the African Service, to help us look at other issues making the rounds. And also, we're hoping Model Abidoye would also be joining us, Repeat Nigeria 360, so that we can get their take on some of the state of the nation, things that are playing out in Nigeria. All right, we also have the issue of Ademola Lookman. It's the CAF Award night, and all attention is focused on who is going to emerge the player of the year in the African continent. We have some key players going for it, but one man is outstanding, one man is expected to win it. His name is Ademola Lookman of Nigeria and Atlanta, the club he plays for in Italy. And we're looking keenly how this is going to pan out. Is there going to be politics played here? Would they deny Ademola Lookman the chance to become Africa's best player of the year, or it's going to go the other way around? But all expectations, all bookers, all pundits are pointing to the fact that he has done enough, having scored 8 or 10 plus goals this season already. Last season he was amazing, and he has continued to score goals this season. And the last game he played against Real Madrid, he was also on the goal scorers chart, and in fact did win the Man of the Match award. So it means he's crossing the T's and dotting all the I's. That's going to make it almost impossible for CAF to ignore him as the African Player of the Year. So we'll be watching keenly as all focus will be on the event when the CAF Player of the Year is decided, and we're wishing him the very best of luck. Alright, let's go for another quick break. When we return, we'll be wrapping up with more stories from other papers. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues,
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
right, welcome back. Let's look at what the Vanguard has in store as headline stories. We've got another obedient arrested. Page 7 is where you get a big headline story. Then we've got 2027 is the kicker. Armored personnel carrier decimates the opposition is the headline story. They are talking about fighting using the political space there. We've got Kenny Bendenok's hit for Nigeria by Femi Falana is on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. Then we've got They Thought It Was Impossible. That's on page 28 is where you get that. Obelarin providing free education for Osun students. And those are the head. We've got 2025 Naira Outlook by Ruwani, Moda Yusuf, and Oyekere, and others. Page 4 is where you get that story. That's coming from the Vanguard newspaper in terms of, let's move on to other papers. We've got the Tribune. Nigerian Tribune is up next for review. As we look at the headline stories, Nigerian Tribune says, federal government dumps concrete opt for asphalt is the headline story there from the Sunday Tribune. Abuja Kano Road is the kicker. Federal government dumps concrete opts for asphalt. It says it will save 640 billion naira. Dogara backs Tinubu's tax reform bills is the headlines there. On page 5 is where you get details of that story. Tinubu discloses reasons behind government policies. Says they are aimed at making Nigeria work for everyone. And the next headline story there from the Sunday Tribune says we lost certificates and other valuables to fire. Nigerians now united in hunger, clamoring for divine intervention. Abere Shade says this on page 11 of the Sunday Tribune. I am hale and hearty. INEC chairman dismisses death rumor. Fathers now abandon wives, children over hardship and poverty, says National Human Rights Commission. Fathers now abandon wives and children over hardship. I am hale and hearty. INEC chairman dismisses death rumor. Those are some of the headline stories from the Sunday Tribune. All right, from the Sunday Tribune, let's go to the Punch newspaper and see the punchy headlines there. From the Punch newspaper comes the headline. Naira for crude is the rider. Ipman eyes petrol price reduction. On page 3 is where you get details of that story. Over 23 million barrels of crude traded as civil societies knock cabal. Governors revel in luxurious convoys amid economic crisis. And other headline stories. IPI Nigeria re-elects Mojid Shekariah as president and secretary. Then we've got deaf community battles exclusion as sign language declines. Then we've got tax reforms is the kicker. Senate AGF yet to meet for review. On page 5 of the Punch newspaper where you get a story. Tax reforms is the kicker. Senate and AGF yet to meet for review. And then we've got concerns mount over Tinubu's silence on envoy's appointment. That's on page 3. Concerns mount over Tinubu's silence on envoy's appointment on page 3 is where you get that story. And we've got Nigeria's judiciary system lose. Pampers corrupt leaders. ICANN president is speaking. Says Nigeria's judiciary system is loose, pampers corrupt leaders. That's coming from ICANN there. Okay, bed spaces is a rider on this story. Lagos top hospitals where patients get admitted by lock. Page 7 is where you get that story. Do you want to grab a copy of the Punch newspaper and you'll be able to get updates as regards that story. All right, we've got a business day. Sunday is next for review as we look at the top stories from the papers. Ghana's flawless election highlights Nigeria's electoral shortcomings. Ghana's flawless election highlights Nigeria's electoral shortcomings. is the bold headline there on Business Day Sunday. Other headline story says, what frequent collapse of national grid means for nation's development. And Unitide is right ahead. Nigerians on edge as bag of rice rises above 100,000 naira. Other headline story says, Nigerians survive on hope as economic struggle intensify. Then we've got opposition current state too weak to present formidable challenge in 2027. Alright, these are some of the headline stories there from the Business Day Sunday. Let's move on to the Sunday Independent is next up for review as we look at what the papers are saying this morning. Sunday Independent says tax reform is the kicker. Tinubu, a leader prepared to lead with courage, says Dogara. And we've got Unitide, while we paid salary on December 14, says Kogi State government, obviously for Christmas. Nigeria on track to achieve universal health coverage, says Dr. Anas. Nigeria on track to achieve universal health coverage, says Dr. Anas. Page 31 is where you find that story. Do well to grab a copy to find out how. Dilemma over Nigeria's teaching institutions. Dilemma over Nigeria's teaching institutions. Stakeholders decry climate of industrial actions. Other headline story says Rivers next target of APC, says Ganduje. And we've got judiciary remains last hope of a common man, affirms Governor Fubara. And other headline stories are coming. We still have from the Sunday Independent, cash withdrawals is a rider. Customers deployed CBN's failure to adequately regulate banks. And we've got Babalola Farotimi, police acted in bad faith, says lawyers. Police acted in bad faith when it had to do with the Babalola Farotimi's issue. Alright, looking at what the papers are saying from the Daily Independent, those are some of the headline stories. Why we paid salary on December 14, according to the Kogi State Governor. And we've got Nigeria on track to achieve universal health coverage, says Dr. Anas. Those are some of the headline stories making the rounds there. And we have a judiciary remains last hope of a common man, affirms Governor Fubara. Page 31 is where you get a story from Governor Fubara, who believes, yes, that the judiciary remains the last hope of the common man. All right, let's look at the last paper before we call it a wrap. We'll have the Nation's newspaper up next for review. Tinubu on economy, I don't take a pleasure in causing pain. All right, Tinubu on the economy, I don't take pleasure in causing pain, is the headline story there from the Nation's newspaper. Rivers governorship is the kicker. APC, PDP in early muscle flexing. Rivers governorship is the rider there. APC, PDP in early muscle flexing. We're still looking at the Nation's newspaper. The big headlines there. Cash crunch is the rider. CBN probe reveals VIPs banks as main culprits. Cash crunch. CBN probe reveals VIPs and banks as main culprits. And we've got Mahmoud Yakubu not dead, hale and hearty, says INEC. Yakubu Mahmoud not dead, hale and hearty is the big story coming out there. Chukwu is new Ohaneze President General to serve for only 27 days. On page 5 is where you get that very interesting story, as Chukwu is the new Ohaneze Ndigbo President General, but he's serving for only 27 days. Alright, these are some of the highlights of the big stories we're making the rounds in the papers, and we will be calling to a wrap at this point. And I want to say thank you very much for joining me on today's edition of the program, Global Morning. My name is Anthony Momodu. Wishing you the very best of today and the week ahead.
Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper review, latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.